Yay, we're filming. So, hi guys. You can see that I have another guest star. Welcome to Topless Topics. As promised, here's my dad. Hi, Dad. I'm gonna get so many comments already. They're gonna be like, I saw your dad. Nope, definitely. You can tell from the face. We have like, everyone says I'm like a younger female version of him. Anyway, so I have never filmed. I mean, I filmed videos with you before for like movie reviews and stuff, but this is a new territory for me. So pardon me if I'm a little giggly. Anyhow,
is this the part where I go? No.
Where you go?
Yeah, walk away.
Oh, okay. No, this is the part where you talk a little bit. So no personal details though, because well, I mean, you can say personal details. I just mean don't say your name.
But don't talk about your jail record.
I have never... The worst I've ever gotten is a policeman yelled at me for not stopping long enough at a stop sign in my car. That's it. Anyhow, so today's topic is nudism, and nudism as a family. What is, how do you tell your family that you are a nudist, or not tell them, your extended family, or your friends, stuff like that. Real quick, my part is I was raised a nudist, which means clothing optional is just a thing. I still follow that kind of mandate, like, as long as I'm not, like, walking in front of windows, I'll be topless all the time. I usually wear underwear because, you don't want to sit on, like, weird stuff. But, yeah, I don't even really think about it. I do it at my boyfriend's, I do it here. Unfortunately, we aren't, we have houses, or apartments right outside of our windows, so, I can't really walk around too much.
Condos. When you pay what we pay for this place.
Okay, condo, whatever. I can't really be as free as I want to, but it's purely just because, legal concerns. I don't want people, showing up at the door being like, oh my god, I saw your boobs, like, my children, oh, the children. It is not me being like, oh. Whereas, a lot of my friends, they'll get naked at parties, but they will never get naked in front of their own family, which is very strange to me because it was the opposite for me. I was fine around my family, and then around my friends, I had to really, warm up to them before I was like, meh, let's all be naked, who cares? But, that's enough about me. Dad, when did you become a nudist, and how did that happen, and what was the process, and so on and so forth?
Well, we were university students, and grad school was coming up, and for Mom and so forth, possibly, and we were under a lot of stress, and we had a yard, and we just went out, and it just felt nice, and then after a while it got kind of lonely, and so we looked into nudist resorts, and found a lot of surprises.
Did you know nudism was a thing before then?
Not really, not much, no.
How did you find out about it?
You mean the resorts and
yeah.
such? Oh, there was, I think, an article in the local paper. Yeah, there was an article in the local paper. Yeah, it was pre-internet, and we read by kerosene lamp. Yes, dear. But anyway...
so, how did that conversation go? Did you just say, hey, honey, I found this ad for this resort?
No, we lived about 3 miles from one, and I was out on a bicycle ride one day, and one day, just for the sheer hell of it, I just rode in and said, this is interesting, and the lady says, well, she judged me and said, well, okay, you look legitimate, look around. So I came back and told your mother and said they have swimming pools and things like that, and you forget about being nude in about the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's really a very nice resort.
That's, that's something that I constantly am trying to help people understand about being a nudist, is it's not... There's a big difference between being a nudist and being an exhibitionist. An exhibitionist is nude and is like, hey, look at me, look at my nakedness, oh my god. A nudist is like, meh, clothes, meh. It's not about showing yourself off, it's about feeling comfortable without clothes. And that is kind of an important part of being a nudist, because the thing is, if you go to a nudist colony and you intentionally are like, look at me, they're not going to like it very much. They don't generally like that kind of person there. Just as they don't like people that go to nudist colonies and then stare at people. It's a very, you have to be respectful of each other. Just like, even if a girl's wearing a low-cut top, it's generally not socially preferred to stare. Just same thing goes in nudist colony. So
there are also some surprises that you will find.
Running into people that you never would have guessed were nudists.
Yeah, we were sitting in the giant jacuzzi, these resorts have very big jacuzzis where lots of people sit in. And Mom and I were sitting there, and big splash of water, and I turned around and found myself staring straight into the face of the reference librarian I worked with at the university. And like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
Once you get past the, oh, hello, you just go around with it.
Yeah.
There was a man there.
There's a police chief.
Oh, yeah, a couple of policemen. Found out that a lot of people who have very stressful jobs go there because there were a couple of firemen and there were policemen. There was a Marine DI.
I think it's maybe part of it is that they have real concerns,
Yeah.
like life or death concerns, so worrying about clothing isn't as high on the list.
There was a Lutheran minister with his wife and kidlets.
See, even religious people could be okay with nudism.
It was like that. We never had a bad experience. A couple of the places we went to, I was assigned to as a travel writer.
Yeah, I mean...
Because they are real resorts.
Yeah, I remember when we were younger, because we've been to a couple... so my experience with news resorts is most of the places we went when I was younger were here in California, so they were like hot and itchy and desert and sand and blah blah blah. Like they were, I don't know, I didn't, like they were okay, but I just wasn't like, oh my god. But then, how old was I? 14 or something when we went to Washington?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, something like 14. And I think I've described this in other videos before, but we went up to this place called Lake Bronson in Washington, which is forest, and they have their own private lake.
On assignment for a travel magazine.
Yeah, on assignment. I'll get there. Yeah, he used to be a travel writer before his health required him to not be on planes anymore.
That's what having her for a daughter will do for him.
Anyway, so we went to this place called Lake Bronson, and yeah, they have their own lake. They have indoor and outdoor pools. They have, like, people actually live there. They have all these forest trails with waterfalls. You can go hiking in the buff. And it's so nice because, for one thing, there's a lot more shade, so you aren't as worried about getting sunburned because, you know, out here in the desert, yeah, sunburns happen. And it was just, it's a little hippie-ish, it sounds a little hippie-ish, but there is this, like, feeling of just being in nature without, you know, wearing manufactured, man-made clothing and, you know, stuff like that. You can just go for a walk through the trail. And I have this memory that I will carry with me until I die. We were staying in a little cabin that they let us use for free because he was writing about them and they wanted him to say nice things about them. It started raining, and it was this warm rain. And I went outside, and I was by myself. They were off exploring. I went out by myself, and I was just dancing in this warm rain surrounded by trees. And that is a feeling that I want all of you to experience at some point. It was beautiful.
Well, you started out originally when we had a nice house with a big yard and a big fence.
Temecula?
No, in Perk Beach.
No,
you were
I was quite young.
Yeah, you were not. Well, you were out of toddlerhood.
Yeah.
But you weren't really a little girl. You were like on the cusp of it. Anyway, you used to go out and Mom would set up the little wading pool and shade trees and everything, and you'd play on the grass, and we just. Why not? You were just happy. You were just this little naked Lily playing on the grass, happy as complete, just this pure innocence.
You know, that actually is a topic that I want to cover in a future video, is the attitudes people have of nudity, especially for kids. Because I think it's fascinating that, like, even when they're tiny, tiny babies, I've met people who will be like, if she's a girl, she should just be, like, all covered. But if she's a boy, it's okay. And I'm like, it's a baby. What? That's a whole other topic.
We've only had one bad experience, and that was, again, I was assigned to a place here in Southern California, and we went into it, and it was a little grubby, and it didn't take long to figure out it was pretty much a swingers club. So we were there about 10, maybe 15 minutes, and left.
Yeah.
Didn't stay, not my thing.
Well, it's funny because I actually, a while ago, not Kaiser, but the person I was dating at the other time, we went to this place, and I'm not going to say their name. I mean, it's pretty easy to find them. They're in Palm Springs, and I forgot how they advertised it. I went there because my friends were going there, and that actually turned out to be a swingers club thing too. And I mean, it wasn't a bad experience exactly, but basically, like, it's this enclosed area with, like, a pool and a hot tub and a bunch of chairs and a sauna room. That part was nice. I think it was a little weird is that, like, everybody's naked and they're literally having sex acts, like, right there in front of you, which can be a little startling at first. Like, as long as nobody's forcing themselves upon you, then I don't really see the problem. I am a little worried, though, because they were bragging that they only use sulfur or something like that in the pools. They don't use any actual chlorine, and there's people having sex in the pool, and I'm like, ugh. But that is another thing that I think a lot of people who are just now finding out about nudism don't understand. Just because people are naked does not mean people are engaging in sexual acts. In fact, it's very against the rules in pretty much every nudist place. You do not, like, have sex in front of everybody. Like, that's completely separate. Naked is not sexual. Duh!
Bring up another point or another item is that why we don't usually tell people that we're nudists.
Is that people assume it's some pervert thing.
Yeah, not only that, but for example, I have Mom and I have a friend that we've known since college days.
Yeah.
Years known this, and she's solid the word. She's a very dear friend of ours.
Oh, I thought you were talking about H.
H.
Never mind. Camera.
H with a camera.
Never mind.
Moving along. Oh, I know. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't know how to check his email, so he probably won't ever watch this. But anyway.
Oh, anyway, no.
Yeah, you don't know how to check email either.
This
old people.
Anyway, this friend, when she was younger, as we all were, and yes, we did have running water here. She lived in this huge condo that was like a beehive with a zillion people, and it had a swimming pool and all the lounges.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'd come by and visit her, and sometimes she'd be by the pool, and she'd be laying there in a bikini that literally would fit in the proverbial teacup.
Mm-hmm. This big.
And you would look up, and there were, because it was a huge condo, like a beehive, there were all these railings, and there would be half a dozen guys salivating like one of Pavlov's dogs, looking at her. And she didn't think anything about it, but she pitched a fit.
Yeah.
When your mother said, "You want to come with us sometime in the swim?" and you consider
that, as you can tell, that's a big thing that comes up a lot on this. Is what is it about the nipple specifically that people are so freaked out about for females? Like, there's this thing that we could do another video of in the future. There's a movie coming out called Free the Nipple. And it's basically about these female activists who are fighting for the right to be, like, it's already legal, but you can't do it without being attacked.
I'm not interested in that. What theater is it?
I think it's actually only like select video or theaters. I don't know. I'm waiting for it to come out on DVD because I'm lazy. But actually, no, it's because I want to film our reactions as we watch it and then like compile a thing. But anyway,
let me tell the story about H now that you pulled.
Okay, I will really quick. But it's this thing that just blows my mind. Like, if I were to drop my hand right now, this video would get a bajillion more views. It would get a bajillion more people being like, "Oh my god, you're so hot." Because I already have to deal with that, and it's like, that's not the point of the channel. But at the same time, YouTube would take it down. People would send the link to my boss. Like, just for the nipples. What is your fascination with nipples? But yeah, anyway, and also Facebook has this wonderful policy where it doesn't matter how much like of this or of that you show, but the second you show nipples, oh my god, people will report your page and get it removed. So, but pictures of like brutal slaughter of animals and people and stuff, totally fine. Whatever. Continue.
So anyway,
get a little passionate about this.
Another reason why we're sort of a little defensive about it is we have another friend who, again, shall remain nameless, but I've known this man for many years. He's a scientist. Very nice man. Single, lifelong bachelor. And we live near a clothing optional beach, which we don't go to because there's no facilities. There's no, restrooms or anything. It's just
I went there
beach.
once. I went there once with Kaiser, and it was actually pretty nice, but getting there was a pain. And luckily the day we went there weren't really any people there, but I can't imagine going there with like a bunch of guys just like...
Well, anyway, he was dying to go there.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, I can show you where it is, but even though we just never went there.
And this is when it was a lot harder to get to.
Yeah, but it wasn't our thing. But anyway, we're walking along the beach, and pretty soon we started coming up across families and all kinds of people using the beach and swimming. And I looked at my friend, and he was swinging his head from side to side like a searchlight, and his eyes were as big as dinner plates, and he was taking this all in, and I'm thinking, he wanted to go with us to a resort. He wanted to go with us to a resort, and I'm thinking, no, my wife's singing teacher, she takes lessons from there. We had friends who were there, And I was thinking, no, I don't want you there. And we didn't have you or anything, but I didn't want him around my family because it was just sort of like,
again,
like wow.
Etiquette, nudist colony etiquette. You do not oogle. You do not stare. You do not follow people around. You do not be like, hey, nice tits. Like, that is so rude, and that will get you kicked out because that is not okay behavior. It is a place to relax. It is not a place to stare.
One last thing, and then I will shuffle off this coil, unless you want to gab at me some more.
Hey.
It says a lot about, we were at a resort once and had this big swimming pool with a big diving board, which they don't have anymore because of insurance, I guess. But I was sitting there reading and talking with some friends, and this woman got up, 20s, I guess, very beautiful woman. And she got on the diving board, and she was standing on the tip of the diving board, and here is this very lovely, totally nude woman. And people looked up and watched her, and she did this magnificent swan dive, because she was an athlete. And then everybody turned around and went back and talked, and then when she got out and walked by the pool to go back to the board, nobody looked at her. They just admired the swan dive. Didn't even occur to them to all go there.
And that's the ideal thing. Well, one thing I mentioned that I wanted us to touch on, but we didn't really get into, is like what are your tips for telling your family and friends that you're a nudist? Like, when should you not? For my part, I mean, I tend to only I try to surround myself with people who I don't think are going to be judgmental about something like that. Like, if I do know someone, okay, for instance, this channel, I don't think there's anyone in my friend group that doesn't know I have this channel. And, you know, almost all my current friends have seen me naked, but they've been naked too. Like, it's just a whatever thing. But if you do have a friend or a family who's really religious, I think you have to weigh, you know, it is very nice to be, you know, relaxed and not have to worry about accidentally saying something like, mention nudist colony, and have your aunt be like, oh my god! But at the same time, a lot of people are very set in their ways, and you will not be able to convince them that what you're doing is not immoral or anything like that. And that's just an unfortunate reality. So it's up to you if it's worth the friction. But my advice is, you know, aside from like blood relatives, which I'm not actually super attached to anyway, I don't understand why just because you're related to someone means you have to be like close to them. Try to surround yourself with people that, you know, make you feel better about yourself. Don't surround yourself with people that are going to be like, oh my god, you got naked, you're like a murderer, basically.
Some nudists are more militant, I guess, about it than we are. For example, there are magazines that are published by and for nudists. We don't subscribe to them. I don't care. There are many resorts I've never been to. I don't care. I have no interest in it. But, for example, there's a resort that we've never been to that's a day's drive from here, but it's 300, it's out in the desert. And it's about 300 acres, and I'm thinking 300 acres of kitty litter. Yay, yay.
Well, that's what I was saying in the beginning, is like, that's, if it was forest and waterfalls, I would be like, yeah, but it's just desert. I'm like, sunburn.
And my wife made the mistake of telling her sister some years ago, quite a few years ago, that we would occasionally go out to a resort for the sense of freedom, and the sister started screaming, nudies, nudies, and just cackled and yelled and carried on, and that was the last time we talked about it. Can I go? Let's go. I'm cold. Can we go?
No, I'm almost done.
You've been
okay, we're at 18
for
minutes.
29 years.
Oh, yeah, well, you love me.
You don't have a choice.
So in conclusion, basically consider what your outcomes are if you tell people and if you don't tell people, and consider, you know, how much their opinion matters to you. But at the same time, if you've been thinking about, like, going to a nudist resort or just, you know, start small. Just, like, walk around your house with your windows closed because you don't want to get, like, the cops called on you by prudish neighbors. You know, try walking around naked, see how you feel. And once you're comfortable with that, look up a nudist resort online. Go try one. Just don't stare and don't take pictures. Those are the two things.
I want to close.
Don't grab.
I want to close with a heavy philosophical nudist thought. I was just realizing we happen to have two cats. One has a collar and the other one doesn't. Does that mean one of our cats is a nudist cat?
No, one of ours just gets out of his collar more often. Yeah. So thanks for watching.
So he is a nudist cat because she wants out of her.
Yes.
It's a girl cat.
Yes. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see future videos featuring my dad, feel free to suggest. No, he likes it. He loves it. He's an attention whore just like me. I get it from my dad. Anyway, leave a comment, suggest topics, give us your thoughts on what you think of nudism, like, are you a nudist? Do you want to become a nudist, but you're not really sure, like, how do you become a nudist? Do you, like, swear on the Bible or something? Leave a question, leave a comment, leave a question, talk amongst yourselves, and as always, if you have other topics you just want to see me talk about with whoever, let me know. And feel free to make your own Topless Topics videos. You can decide to show everything if you want. I have not because, like I said, the video would get taken down. But yeah, leave a comment. And thanks for watching. Subscribe for more Topless Topics and such as it is. Thank you. Bye. Bye. How can you say without choking on your own bile that you support free speech for Nazis?
Yeah.
But not for non-sexual women's nipples.
It's
What?
bullshit. It's bullshit.
It's bullshit.